CIT 1123, Instructional Packet Tracer Video 656, Configuring Dynamic NAT. Pretty good lab. In this one, they do point out a couple of really good things. First of all, that we're going to put NAT only on router 2, which is the one that's connected to the internet. So there's another router that's passed here, and there are some subnets that are not directly connected to router 2. We still have to set up our access list for each of those networks. They also do a little bit of a super scope here where you've got a 192.16.11, or sorry, 172.16.11, 172.16.10, 172.16.1. And rather than doing 3 lines in their access list, they're like, just make 1 line and just let's permit anything that starts with 172.16. So security-wise, not maybe the best pattern, but from a productivity standpoint, you only have to make 1 line in your access list. So it's quicker. Is it working? Yeah, it'll work. Once again, I would prefer to post subnet by subnet if I was gonna make an access list for this, just for security wise. But this is fine. This is fine. So that's the first thing you're gonna do. The second thing they're gonna do is they identify that there's a NAT pool here, and they want you to set that NAT pool up with it's a /30. So this is a 209, 165, 200, 228. So the usable address space there is 229 and 230. They're going to ask us to go ahead and use both of those addresses in that particular space. So that's going to be 229, 230. It's going to be the address space that we would use there. It's a subset of the larger network 209, 165, 200, 224. So just they've obviously broken that piece up into different parts, but it would be more straightforward if they just had this subnet as a /30 and said just use one of the addresses, or as a /20, 29, and then said use 2 of the the 6 usable. But whatever, it's fine. We'll be able to do that. We're going to tie it together with a IPNet inside source list statement, and we'll post the inside-outside addresses, and it will totally work. So let's go ahead and get started. So on router 2, remember, because we only perform NAT or PAT on the router that's directly connected to the internet. And and one more thing I didn't mention that probably should is that there still needs to be a static route. So, when I look at this and I identify that we're going to run NAT/PAT on this, that static route's got to be there. You got to have a static route pointing out to the internet, otherwise it is not going to work. All right, so config T here, we're going to be step 1, and in step 1 we're going to set up our access list for, this is going to be a numbered access list 1, and this is a quick permit statement 172.16.0.0 and 0.0.255.255. That's an access list. That's done. So that will includes all 3 of those subnets, and that piece is finished. Now, part 2 is right here. This is 209, 165, 200, 228. So let's go ahead and make that statement. So that is IP NAT pool, and we can name it anything that we want. IP NAT pool, I'm going to call it NAT, capital letters. And we'll start with 200 or 209.165.200.229 is where we're going to start, and 230 is where we're going to end, because it says use the 2 usable addresses in that space, and we will do that. 210, and the net mask is going to be /30. So 255.255.255, and I did something wrong. Oh, I wrote my last address is wrong. My bad. Whoops. I'm not going to stop this video. That's supposed to be 30, There we go. Hey, that's correct now. Okay, so look at the one that I just did. I ended that with 210. I don't know where that came from. 229 to 230. So those are the two addresses. Let's go ahead and tie these guys together with an IPNAT inside source list statement. So it shouldn't be too bad. So IPNAT inside source list 1 pool NAT. Those are the last two things that I just did. And we'll do an overload at the end of that, and that's pretty good. And now we gotta label these interfaces. Now we can go point to the diagram, but the way I would do this in a real life situation would be this. I would do a do show IP int brief. And then that shows me the interfaces that are in an upstate, and it shows me the addresses of those interfaces. So I see that serial 000 is a public and serial 001 is a private. I now know which side is inside and which side is outside. So I can just go right from here. I can go int s0/0/0, and I go IP nat outside because that's where my public address is at. And then I can go int s0/0/1. I do IP nat inside, and that completes the configuration. So now it's done. If I want to do a show command, show IP nat trans. We may have nothing in there right now because there's no translations. But if I go to L1 over here and I make a ping, and we go ping across the NAT 209.165.201.5, and this should work for us. If I typed that in correctly, I think I did. And the waiting is the hardest part, and it is working. And if we do a show IPNAT trans again, now we've got those translations for what we just passed across there. So replacing 172.16.1.1 with 209.165. 209.165, 200, 229 over and over again. Fantastic. That is 656, and I'll see you in the next video.